Good day. Today we will discuss about the concepts, nature, and purposes of curriculum. But before that, let us know first what are the objectives. So at the end of the discussion, you will be able to define curriculum and its major conceptions. Second, you will be able to analyze the nature of the curriculum. Third, you will be able to demonstrate knowledge by giving a concrete concept of a curriculum. And lastly, you will be able to explain the nature, purpose, and importance of curriculum in schools. So for this lesson, we will divide our discussion into two sessions. So for our discussion for today, we will tackle about the definitions of curriculum. We also have the curriculum from different points of view, and lastly, what are the various points of view about curriculum development. For our second session, we will tackle about the types of curriculum operating in schools, the elements and components of curriculum, and what are the teaching learning processes and curriculum development. So let us now begin our discussion. So what is curriculum? First, let us look on the picture. What do you think about curriculum? What is curriculum? So based from the picture, as you can see, curriculum refers to the total learning experiences of individuals in both schools and society. It is not merely a listing of subjects to be taught in school. Thus, curriculum should cater all types of learner. That's why in the picture we can observe that there is a praise access to all. Let us now first the basics of curriculum. So curriculum began as a Latin word currere, which means a race or the course of a race to run or to proceed or a runaway on which one runs to reach a goal. So we all know that curriculum comprises the hierarchical series of courses or subjects that form the structured curriculum of the school. So if the teacher is the guide, the curriculum is the path. So the teacher serves as the guide for providing better learning experiences for students. So according to Ornstein and Hankins, curriculum can be defined as first, plan for achieving goals. So curriculum consists of the means of instruction to provide better learning opportunities for students that leads to desired learning outcomes. Next, curriculum deals with the learner's experiences. As what I have said earlier, curriculum exists to provide learners educational experiences. Third, curriculum deals with people. So curriculum caters all types of learners. Fourth, curriculum as a field of study with its own foundations, knowledge, domains, research, theory, principles, and specialists. So curriculum can also be a field of study that serves as a primary reference in executing learning delivery approaches that is suitable for all learners. So lastly, curriculum in terms of subject matter. As we all know, curriculum entails a well-organized set of subjects or courses. So it provides teachers an outline of what should be taught to the students. So for the definition, so as we dig deeper, we have here the prescriptive definitions of curriculum. So curriculum can be defined as prescriptive and descriptive or both. But first, let us discuss the prescriptive definitions of curriculum. So what do we mean when curriculum is defined in a prescriptive definition? So the prescriptive definition of curriculum are those that give a provision of what ought to happen, and they take a form of a plan, an intended program, or some kind of expect opinion about what needs to take place in the course of study. So basically, the prescriptive definitions of curriculum revolves around on anything that is handed down to schools, colleges, and universities. So in here, curriculum serves as the path to achieve the educational goals. It acknowledges the dominant role of the institution or the teacher that can greatly influence the learners. So according to John Dewey, He defines curriculum as a continuous reconstruction moving from the child's present experiences out into that represented by the organized bodies of truth that we call studies. The various studies are themselves experience. They are that of the race. So according to John Dewey, curriculum is about revamping child's experiences to the organized body of truth. It brings a sense of the world where the students lives. Learning by doing and development of essential or practical skills is important for the students. Moreover, according to Franklin Bobbitt, he defines curriculum as the entire range of experiences, both directed and undirected, concerned in unfolding the abilities of the individual. So according to him, curriculum encompasses the experiences of students or learners inside and outside the school that allows to develop students' extent potentialities. We also have Harold Rugg, who defines curriculum as a succession of experiences and enterprises having a maximum life-likeness for the learner, giving the learner that development most helpful in meeting and controlling life situations. So curriculum prepares the students or exposing them to the world with a goal of meeting and controlling life situations. So it can be through subjects or core courses taught inside the school, then apply it to real life situations. Next, we also have Hollis Caswell, who defined curriculum as that composed of all the experiences children have under the guidance of teachers. Thus, curriculum considered as a field of study represents no strictly limited body of content but rather a process or procedure. So in a simply put, curriculum can be considered as a field of study that is not limited to its content but rather to the process or procedure that will engage the students for more knowledge. Next, we also have Ralph Tyler, who defines curriculum as all the learning experiences planned and directed by the school attain its educational goals. So curriculum is the sum or totality of all learning experiences executed and directed by the school. Next, we have Robert Gagne. He defines curriculum as a sequence of content units arranged in such a way that the learning of each unit may be accomplished as a single act, provided the capabilities described by specified prior units have already been mastered by the learner. So Robert Gagne says that curriculum means everything is arranged. So from the educational goals to the set of courses or subjects. We also have James Popham and Eva Baker. They define curriculum as all the planned learning outcomes for which the school is responsible. Therefore, curriculum refers to the desired consequences of instruction. So for them, curriculum entails all the achievement of planned learning outcomes inside the classroom in which the school is responsible. We also have the prescriptive definitions of curriculum from McBrien and Brandt. So define curriculum as a written plan outlining what students will be taught or the course of the study. Curriculum may refer to all the courses offered at a given school or all the courses offered at a school in a particular area of study. So basically, curriculum includes all the course of study or subjects that needs to be taught to students. We also have the definitions from the Indiana Department of Education that defines curriculum as a planned interaction of pupils with instructional content, materials, resources, and processes for evaluating the attainment of educational objectives. So according to the Indiana Department of Education, curriculum refers to the planned interaction between students and subject matter in order to evaluate the attainment of educational objectives. So from the descriptive definition, let us now move on to the descriptive definitions of curriculum. So what is curriculum in a descriptive definition? So descriptive definitions go beyond how things ought to be to how things really are in the real classroom. So the descriptive definitions of curriculum goes beyond the prescriptive terms, but rather it focuses on the learner's experience. It is like the curriculum in action. So according to Hollis Caswell and Doug Campbell, curriculum entails all the experiences children have under the guidance of teachers. Curriculum should provide all the learning experiences for students with the guidance of their teachers. We also have Thomas Hopkins, who defined curriculum as those learning each child selects, accepts, and incorporates into himself to act with, on, and upon in subsequent experiences. So for Hopkins, curriculum entails the application of students' learnings that reflects on what are their learning experiences. Next, we also have Reagan. According to him, all the experiences of the child for which the school accepts responsibility. So for Reagan, schools are responsible for providing relevant learning experiences for students. Next, according to Glenn Haas, he defines curriculum as the set of actual experiences and perceptions of the experiences that each individual learner has of his or her program of education. So curriculum entails a set of actual experiences together with the perceptions of the student from his or her program of education. Another descriptive definitions from Daniel Tanner and Laura Tanner that focuses on the curriculum as the construction of knowledge and experiences that enable the learner to grow in exercising intelligent control of subsequent knowledge and experiences. So, curriculum is about revamping the knowledge and experiences of the students to develop one's potentialities and be able to apply what they have learned. We also have Brown, who defines curriculum as all students' school experiences relating to the improvement of skills and strategies in thinking critically and creatively, solving problems, working collaboratively with others, communicating well, writing more effectively, reading more analytically, and conducting research to solve problems. So, according to Brown, curriculum includes all students' school experiences relevant to the improvement of essential skills and strategies. Lastly, for the descriptive definitions of curriculum, we have Silva, who defines curriculum as an emphasis on what students can do with the knowledge rather than what units of knowledge they have is the essence of 21st century skills. So in the 21st century, the focus of the curriculum does not only focuses on the content or body of knowledge, but rather on how the students can know what to do with the learning or how they can apply what they have learned. So from the aforementioned definitions of curriculum, we can infer that the definition of curriculum is divided into two. We have the prescriptive and descriptive. So they differ according to their breadth and emphasis. Thus, a good and useful definition of curriculum should meet the two crucial criteria. First, a curriculum should reflect the general understanding of the term as used by educators. Lastly, it should be useful to educators in making operational distinctions. From that, from knowing the basic or the definitions of curriculum, we will also tackle about curriculum from different points of view. So from the traditional points of view of curriculum is that it is a body of subjects or subject matter prepared by the teachers for the students to learn. It was synonymous to the course of study and syllabus. So in the early 20th century, traditional concepts or points of curriculum refers to the body or subjects or what we call the subject matter, the course of a study, or the syllabus. So according to Robert Hutchins, curriculum as permanent studies where the rules of grammar, reading, rhetoric, and logic and mathematics for basic education are emphasized. So according to Robert Hutchins, curriculum in basic education should stress the three R's. While in college, the focus of the curriculum should be grounded on liberal education. So according to Joseph Schwab, he coined the term discipline as a ruling doctrine for curriculum development. So for Joseph Schwab, discipline is the sole source of curriculum. So these disciplines can be about humanities, sciences, languages, etc. We also have curriculum are according to Arthur Bestor. Curriculum should focus on the fundamental intellectual disciplines of grammar, literature, and writing. It should also include mathematics, science, history, and foreign language. So similarly, Bestor emphasized the essence of including intellectual disciplines in the curriculum. So since the traditional points of view of curriculum focuses on students' intellectual training, Bestor stated that the involvement of intellectual disciplines such as grammar, literature, writing, mathematics, sciences, history, and foreign language is essential in curriculum. So from the traditional points of view, we have the progressive points of view of curriculum. So according to them, a curriculum consists of a list of school subjects, a syllabi, course of study, and a list of courses or specific discipline do not make a curriculum. So this can only be called curriculum if the written materials are actualized by the learner. So to a progressivist, curriculum does not only focuses on the subjects of subjects and course of study, but rather the total learning experiences of the learner. It can be called as a curriculum if the learner was able to think, reflect, and apply what they have learned from the school. Moreover, according to John Dewey, reflective thinking is a means that unifies curricular elements. We also have the definition, the view from Caswell and Campbell, that curriculum is all experiences children have under the guidance of teacher. We also have curriculum as a sequence of potential experiences set up in the schools for the purpose of disciplining children in youth in group of ways of thinking and acting. That is according to Smith, Stanley, and Shore. So as what have been stated by Dewey, he highlighted both experiences and education. He believed that one's thought is tested by application. Similarly, we have the definition stated by Caswell and Campbell, Smith, Stanley, and Shores, and we also have the definition from Marsh and Wills, which focuses curriculum as all the experiences in the classroom which are planned and enacted by the teacher and also learned by the students. So from the different points of view about the curriculum, we will now tackle about the various points of view on curriculum development. So from the previous discussions we had about the concepts and definitions of curriculum, we can conclude that curriculum is a dynamic process. So to produce positive changes in the curriculum, development should be purposeful, and planned, and should be planned carefully. So let us look at the two models of curriculum development. So we have here the Ralph Tyler's model his four basic principles. So it is also called as Tyler's rationale. So we have here the four fundamental principles. First, it answers what educational purposes should the school seek to attain. Next, what educational experiences can be provided that are likely to attain these purposes. Third, how can these educational experiences be effectively organized? Lastly, how can we determine whether these purposes are being attained or not? So in summary, Tyler's model shows that in curriculum development, the following considerations should be made. So in summary, from the four principles stated above, we have first the purposes of the school. Second, we have the educational experiences related to the purposes. Third, we have the organization of those experiences. And lastly, the evaluation of the experiences. So that is Ralph Tyler's model on curriculum development. On the other hand, we have the Hilda Taba's model. He improved the Tyler's rationale or Tyler's four basic principles in curriculum development. So Hilda Taba modified Tyler's model by making a linear model. So for Taba, teachers should partake in developing the curriculum since they are the ones who teach or executes the curriculum. So for her, curriculum should be designed by its users. She posited 7 major steps in which teachers could have a major input or participation. So these steps are as follows. First, diagnosis of learners' needs and expectations of the larger society. Next, we have the formulation of learning objectives. Third, the selection of learning content. Fourth, the organization of learning content. Fifth, the selection of learning experiences. Sixth, the organization of learning activities. And lastly, the determination of what to evaluate and the means of doing it. So those are the two major models or two major points of view on curriculum development. So that is the end of our discussion for our first session. So for our next session, we will discuss about the types of curriculum operating in schools, the elements or components of curriculum, and what are the teaching learning processes and curriculum development. So I hope you learned something from me. See you to our next session. Thank you for listening.